definitely like to do whatever is the suggestion, and I will be in touch with all of you and see how the university and the state goes with these developments.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Yasmin from DVFS, and actually I have two questions. And my first question is for Mr. Deepak Pareikh. That our state has number of private sector banks, as you can take example of HDFC Bank, but their CD ratio is very low. As you said, it's only 40%. So why you hesitate to give credit to the, we can say the general public and entrepreneurs of the state, because this leads to the capital flight. And why you hesitate to give a loan to the public of this state? And now a second question is for Mr. Gandhi, that don't you think that there should be a proper legislation for this to keep check on these private banks so that these CD ratios should be properly checked, and the problems which we are facing right now due to the lack of proper, we can say that, money supply, and due to which we are really facing number of problems, so that we will not face it in the future. Don't you think that there should be a proper legislation? Thank you.
See, I am quite convinced that over a period of time, the CD ratios will increase in Kashmir. I think tourism is totally underestimated. Tourism is growing. The few hours that we have been here we've been hearing phenomenal stories about the number of tourists that have started coming to the valley, and there are limited number of hotels, limited rooms, limited places for people to stay. Tourism is a huge employment possibility. If people are starting tourism agencies, tourism facilities for tourists, I think the financial institutions will be more than happy to give money. And it's not that we are shying away from giving money, it is a proposal has to be viable. If we get unviable, a bank has to lend and collect the money. And if our people over here, it is empowered, our branch people here are empowered to give loans. If the proposal they find is viable, I'm sure they will give the loans. Only thing is that if they're not viable, if the income streams are not there, then it's very difficult to lend money, because we have to collect the money. But tourism is one area which can grow rapidly, and tourism creates large number of employment, whether it is guides or whether it's tourist buses, cars, a huge amount, apart from the bigger picture, the hotel industry.
I agree with Mr. Pareikh. See, bank lends money when it makes money. And it needs to, you need to have feasible projects, feasible ideas for the bank to lend money so that it can make money. If you have peace and quiet, stability, more and more business ideas are feasible. It is much easier. There is a hidden cost to business ideas of instability. And part of what they will tell you is that they would rather invest in another state because that hidden cost doesn't exist in that other state. There is a hidden cost of the threat of violence, the threat of something going wrong, and that is what we have to slowly reduce. I also agree with Mr. Tata that it is actually a cycle. So it is not good enough just to say, bhai, let's get stability. You can also take actions that will improve stability. You can take preemptive actions that will actually improve the situation. And I think this is one such action, where we are having a conversation with you. Last time I came here, there was a misunderstanding. Big businesses don't want to come to Kashmir. It's actually not true. Big businesses want to make money. And it is easier to make money in an environment which is stable. And I'm pretty sure that as stability comes into Kashmir, as trust develops, you will start to accelerate and you will start to go faster than a lot of the other states. Because you're very dynamic people, you're very capable people. So I don't think a law is necessary. Thank you.
I think we have a question from faculty now.
If I might just add to that point, sometimes it's difficult to legislate for everything that is required. You know, over a period of time, enforcing the unenforceable becomes a problem. So by creating that legislation, you'll probably drive the business away from here, then let the environment change to bringing about the change that is required.
I'm Imtiazul Haq.
Good afternoon, sir. We have a question from this side first.
Okay, thank you. I'm Imtiazul Haq from the Department of Economics. As a teacher, there has been an interesting debate that whether it is the stability that gives rise to the prosperity or the prosperity gives rise to the stability. And I agree with the views of Mr. Ratan Tata that it is the prosperity that gives rise to the stability. But the question then arises, what is the source of the prosperity? It, of course, is the creation of the employment opportunities by way of making the investments. But then we come to the basic question that how these employment opportunities can be created, especially within our own state of Jammu and Kashmir. I have also listened to the various questions and the queries raised by the students that we have the enormous human resource potential. Admitted, not only that, but I am proud to say that we have substantial economic resources. And I will be mentioning just 2 or 3. But what then is the problem that we are not able to create the employment opportunities? The only thing is that there is a mismatch of the human resource development and the material resource base. Our skill formation is not in line with the resource potential so that these resources could be exploited at an optimal level. The result is that all our resources are underutilized, misutilized. I will be talking just only about 3 sectors, although we have many, shortly, because of the paucity of time. The first of all is the handicraft sector. Number 2 is the tourism sector. And number 3 is the power sector. And also one of the sectors, I will be taking them one by one. Let's come to the handicraft sector first of all. We have an advantage that this sector is environment friendly. It does not lead to the environmental degradation. Number 2, this sector, the employment opportunities can be created with meager investments. Number 3, it has the potential to absorb a lot of employment. And number 4, the products, the handicraft products of the Jammu and Kashmir, they are renowned at the world levels. It has the ability to penetrate the international markets, to earn the foreign exchange. Now then, what happens when there is a mismatch between the skill formation and the resource potential? We have not been able to, this is surprising, and this may please be taken seriously, that the adjusting rod between the mismatch is the right type of education so that it can lead to the creation of the skills which are in line with the resource potential. I would like to ask that the University of Kashmir itself or the government of the Jammu and Kashmir, how far they have been able to do justice with this area by declaring it as a thrust area. It may be existing on the papers, but nothing is being done practically. I would like to ask this August gathering that how many departments and the institutions we have established, especially the departments producing the graduates and postgraduates in the business management, etc. Do we have produced any MBA student having a specialization in the handicraft sector itself? The answer is big no. We could just utilize that in our own economy and then we are not dependent upon the rest of the country or elsewhere for the employment opportunities. Substantial resources. Similarly, we have another sector, that is the tourism sector. There's a dearth of institutions producing those personnel professionals who could deal with this industry and give new dimensions to it, especially when we know that we are so important at international levels, a huge foreign exchange earning sector. Similarly, there is another sector, which is the horticulture sector. Though we produce millions of tons of apple, but we are not being able to add value to that. We have not set up a chain work of the food processing agro industries with the minimum of the investments. And what is unfortunate that our education system does not provide the graduates and postgraduates with those qualifications, with those skills who can take up these ventures. So the thing is that write-up of the education is required to remove this mismatch, and it is a policy question. It's for the planners, policy makers, and those who are at the helm of affairs. The power sector is one more sector. Please bear with me, just for 1 minute, sir. We have a substantial economic source, that's power, generated from this water. This water now has assumed the significance because rightly said by somebody that one of the world wars will be fought on the water resources. We have 20,000 megawatts of energy that could be generated from our water sources. We can compare ourselves with the Middle East and the Central Asian countries in case of they are possessing the hydrocarbon resources, deriving the fossils, this energy from the fossils fuel, but at the same time polluting the environment, and those resources are exhaustible. In our case, water resources are eco-friendly and they are non-exhaustible. What comes in between that, we are not able to exploit 20,000 megawatts, which have been found technically and economically feasible. This is a surprise that our own state power projects, they reap only 5% of this 20,000 megawatt energy. Only just below 1,000 megawatts is harnessed. With the result that...
Let them answer this.